As if being a young teenager is not difficult enough. Imagine dating your young little junior high boyfriend and then getting bombarded daily by an unknown number of the most cruel, hateful text messages every single day for almost 2 years. And then not only that, but to find out that it's actually your mother that is behind the text messages that were pointing out every single tiny insecurity that you actually felt, and it be the woman that's inside your own home helping you look for the person that is doing this. That would be a literal nightmare. And that is exactly what happened to two young junior high school teenagers. And if you have not seen the newest Netflix documentary, Unknown Number High School Catfish, two young teens were tormented daily by an unknown number. This story is actually insane, and it is a trending story right now because it is almost nauseating what this woman put her child through. So we're going to get into this story and give you some information for those of you guys that have not seen it, because it is a crazy, crazy story. So welcome back to my channel, everybody. I'm Allena. Let's get into this whole story on Kenda Licari and her daughter, Lauryn Licari, and her boyfriend, Owen, or should I say ex-boyfriend. When they finally figured out who this cyber bully was, it turned out to be way worse than they probably ever could have imagined. Before we get into it though, make sure you like and hit the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with anything I've got coming out on my channel. But let's get into this story on this high school catfish, Kenda Licari. Many of you by now have probably already watched this on Netflix. If you have not, it is very, very good. I definitely recommend you to. It definitely caught me off guard. I did not see it coming. But let's just kind of go through what happened. And when Lauryn and Owen were 13 years old, they were in junior high, and they were living in the small town of Beale City, Michigan. And they had been dating since junior high school. Many of them kind of looked at them as the it couple of their grade, basically. And their parents were totally supportive. They got along great. They were both athletic. They both played sports. Both of the parents got along with each other, and it was just, a nice, wholesome little junior high relationship. And so just before Halloween in 2020, Lauryn and Owen received a group text from an unknown number, and it said, "Hi Lauryn, Owen is breaking up with you." And that was not the only message. There was other ones, including some that would say, "He's cheating on you. He doesn't like you anymore. He's actually in love with me. And it's obvious that he wants me and he doesn't want you." Just really tormenting this girl and her boyfriend. Of course, that's gonna cause problems in any relationship, but especially in a junior high relationship. Their emotions are, constantly up and down, and the hormones and all of that as young kids have. But initially, the couple just kind of ignored it. They figured, they both talked and it wasn't really that big of a deal. They worked through it and they were just gonna ignore it. So that was it, After that, they didn't hear anything back until almost a full year later. And they were pretty surprised when this happened. I mean, they haven't heard from this person in a year. It just kind of died down, only to pick right back up 1 year later. But at this point, it did not stop.
Fucking trash, bitch. Don't fucking wear leggings. Ain't no one wants to see your anorexic flat ass.
I would question what I wear to school, how I look, how's my hair. Definitely affected how I thought about myself.
You are worthless and mean nothing.
These kids every single day. So the text messages grew increasingly disturbing, and then they went to a very sexually explicit level as well. Text messages even said to Lauryn that Owen was going to break up with her because she was not doing the things that he wanted her to do. She wasn't putting out. It's just very graphically disturbing. And it just kept escalating from there. And, I know what you're probably thinking. Why did these parents not block the number? That's the first step, block the number. But apparently, the perpetrator was using a software platform that showed the text coming from multiple phone numbers and multiple different area codes, so they weren't really able to block the phone number. Ultimately, at some point, the parents of the kids went to the high school because they were convinced that it was one of the girls there that just did not like that letter. They thought maybe it was some sort of jealousy issue. And even though Lauren got along pretty well with a lot of the other girls and she was relatively popular, she still had some issues with other students, like pretty much everyone does when they're in school. You can't get along with everybody. And they went to the principal, and the principal decided to try to help figure out who was sending these messages. And the messages were so dirty and sexual in nature that, it was getting pretty alarming.
We asked every question imaginable to these kids. They knew little to nothing about it. So I began with some video surveillance, marking when the text would come in, and then looking at video to see if we could see someone in the hallway sending a text at that particular time.
They did all this and they still couldn't come up with it, they kept getting these text messages.
Because it's hard to say if they're sending a Snapchat or a harassing text when we're just looking at video.
Kendra and I started comparing notes. We were at the school almost every day with a practice or some sort of event. So it would just be like, hey, did Lauren get any messages today? This is what Owen got. Jill and I spoke about it when we were together. We could talk about just about anything.
Chloe,
And then it started getting blamed on me.
There's 348 pages. They're nasty. I mean, they're past harassment. This is stalking. I just want you to stop. It's gotta stop.
Well, I don't have anything to do with it. I'm with people all the time, and if something were happening like that, someone would see it.
Hi, Sophie.
Yeah.
Hi. I'm talking to lots of people today. Any idea why?
I'm kind of having an idea because I'm close to Lauren.
Okay. Are you friends with Chloe?
Yeah, she's one of my close friends.
Do you think Chloe would do it?
Because her dad's the police, so she wouldn't be dumb enough to do something like that.
Thank you.
I got a phone call from Maine.
So eventually, after could not figure out who was sending these messages, which again, this is a very small town, so therefore it's a very small police department. And so the police began questioning other students and friends of Lauren and some of the not so friendly kids as well. One in particular was a girl named Chloe. And she was suspected of being the person that was sending these messages because she kind of had a history of being that typical mean girl in school. She was a very popular athlete. And again, this is a very small town. So there wasn't a whole lot of people to choose from, but Chloe was definitely a lead suspect, I should say, just because of how many issues that she had with not only Lauren, but other girls as well. She was just your typical mean girl in school. She had a history of bullying other people, including Owen's cousin. And it was said that they thought Chloe may be the one that was sending them after they discovered that Chloe had a couple of burner accounts on her phone. And the language that the sender was using was kind of similar to how Chloe would speak in real life. So, for example, Chloe had a tendency to say bruh or, various slang words. And this is what this sender was also saying whenever they were sending these multiple text messages a day. So they were immediately thinking it was gonna be Chloe. But Chloe, of course, denied it. She cried to her parents and said that she was being framed for this. And her father was actually working at the police department as well. So they ultimately ended up dumping Chloe's phone, meaning they turned it over and allowed the police to get all of the information off of the cell phone. discovered that the records didn't match. But it was bizarre because the sender of these messages were pretty much setting it up to look exactly like Chloe. So for example, in one of the messages, they were talking about how Lauryn was no good at basketball. She sucks at basketball. She didn't make any points during a game, and they would say that I made 12 points. So they went back to look at the score record, and the only person that scored 12 points was Chloe. And in another instance, whenever Chloe and her family went on vacation to Florida, all of a sudden the area code to the number switched to a Florida area code. So this sender was definitely setting it up to look like mean girl Chloe. But after the records were dumped and nothing came back, they had to start looking elsewhere. Eventually, the local police department sent all this information over to the FBI because they pretty much exasperated all of their resources. They exhausted all of their abilities to find out who was sending these messages. And the parents of both Owen and Lauryn refused to change their phone numbers to stop these messages from coming in because they felt like they shouldn't have to do that and that this person should be caught and held accountable for the daily harassment. And these were messages that were pretty much telling them to end their lives daily. Eventually, Lauryn and Owen actually broke up over this because they felt maybe it would stop the messages, but it didn't. So after the FBI was looking into it, they were able to track down some of the IP addresses. They were able to acquire a warrant which provided the IP addresses for the burner accounts, the text messaging apps, and the IP was a registered address from a Spectrum host in the Pleasant area, and the user opened the link with an iPhone. So according to the report, there was only one number that matched anyone involved in the case, and that was Lauryn's mother, Kendra. So when police confronted Kendra about this at their home, she admitted to being the sender almost immediately. She didn't even try to really play it off very much, but she was just like, yeah, I did it.
And I have a search warrant for your devices and your phones. When we were doing the investigation and the FBI got involved, we come up with some stuff that comes back to you.
What do you mean?
The messages coming and originating from you.
No.
Every message that went to the kids, your number come back to Pingree or whatever it is, the app that's tried to hide it. Your number, even though it was being hid, showed up every single message.
My number?
Yep. Does it have to do with Owen? Is there an infatuation there with Owen?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, then just tell me what did he treat Lauryn bad? I mean something serious, because it went on for a while, right?
Yeah, and it didn't start that way.
And I'm sure it didn't.
I don't even know.
That's okay, just start from the beginning. So they were dating, and then they broke up. So how did it really start? Like, why did it start did it start during when they were still dating?
It did.
Was he treating her bad?
But it did. The first one didn't start, with me.
Okay.
I will say that. Those ones were, random or whatever.
So somebody else started those, you don't know?
But then I, fed off of.
So this is the deal. Every time the kids received a message, her number came back. So that was enough for a search warrant, and that's why we're here today. So we took her phone and the computer. As my detective was collecting that, I started talking to her. I said, it's over with, it's done.
May I ask you, what phone did you take?
She had it in her pocket. I can show you. So,
A couple of them.
okay, well, I have a search warrant for all of them, so I'd like to get all of them.
Should she go to jail? I mean,
Well, so this is the deal. Felony stalking. That's what the charge is. So I knew there was a lot of things going on.
yeah. Yeah.
Yep, I know she was from Paris, and she had IT backgrounds.
You just said she got let go.
That's
Tell me she quit.
I was told by somebody I know over there that she was let go. She was no longer employed. So I think there's more to that story too.
Obviously Lauryn and the husband were totally confused about what was going on. They had no idea that it had been Kendra the entire time, but it was. Looking back on it, it definitely makes sense, and I think it honestly has so much more to do with Owen than it actually does to Lauryn. I think she was for sure manipulating Lauryn, but I think it was really some sort of obsession with Owen that Kendra had. She was jealous of her daughter and that relationship, because at one point in the documentary, Kendra is talking about how her husband and her were struggling in their marriage because of this whole situation that was going on with their daughter. They were no longer being intimate, and for it to all come back to literally be the mother of the girl, that marriage was being put on the shelf because she was so obsessed with the boy. And ultimately, she did end up going to jail over this, but it was very, very light for what she did. She tormented these kids daily and made them depressed. She messed with their mental health. And I think it honestly has everything to do with the fact that she was jealous, or she was somehow obsessed with the girl's boyfriend. She was actually charged with 2 counts of stalking a minor, 2 counts of communicating with another to commit a crime, and 1 count of obstruction of justice. And this carried a penalty of up to 10 years, but she pled guilty to 2 stalking counts, and in exchange for her plea, she had the other charges dismissed and was ultimately sentenced to a minimum of 19 months in prison. But I want to know what you guys thought about this documentary, if you've watched it, or what you guys think of it just from what I've told you. What do you think the issue was with this mother, or why do you think she was actually doing it? Do you think it's more jealousy of the daughter, or do you think it's more of an obsession with the boy, Owen? As always, don't forget to like and hit the subscribe button. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.